Hey everybody, it's Monday, and that means it's time for another episode of Chatting with Agnes and Cecilia. Today's topic, coming to you recorded from the ASAE Engagement Lounge, is learning from ASAE19. And we have a surprise guest today, Stacy De La O of Sage and Rosemary Consulting. As always, Chatting with Agnes and Cecilia is brought to you by Rogue Tulips LLC, 501c Consulting and Association Management. Visit us at our website, roguetulips.com. And we are a proud supporter of the 501c League, a virtual membership organization for everyone in the 501c community and the people who love them. So here we are today. We are here in Columbus, Ohio with our surprise guest, Stacy De La O, and my lovely co-host and colleague, Agnes Amos Coleman. Agnes, say hello to everyone.
Hello, our global audience. My name again is Agnes Amos Coleman. I'm an author and a consultant with Rogue Tulip. Over to you, Cecilia. Cecilia, can you tell us a little bit about ASAE for our global audience who are not familiar?
Sure, because there's actually a lot of people from around the world at the meeting this year. So that tells you what a draw Columbus, Ohio is. And before I talk a little bit about ASAE, I just want to give a huge thank you to the Columbus CVB for being such wonderful hosts for us. They've made us feel so special and welcome and just really done a lot of nice things for us. So if you're looking for a place for a meeting, really consider Columbus, Ohio as a very innovative city and very friendly, and there's a lot to do here. A very inclusive, diverse community as well. So for our global audience, ASAE stands for the American Society of Association Executives. And so this is all the people who work at 501c organizations, so professional societies, trade associations, charities, or foundations, or other types of 501c groups. So it's actually now a global organization and usually just goes by the acronym, but that's what ASAE stands for. So let me check the time. So, okay, just checking the time, folks, because we try to keep these to about 15 minutes. So that's what ASAE is. We actually have had the opportunity to meet several people from around the world. Actually, I met somebody from MCI USA who's from the Brazil office, but is originally from Holland. And so her first question is, I'm from Holland. Why did you name your company after tulips? So that was kind of a fun thing. So that was neat. So Stacey, who have you met globally, or what could you share with our global audience?
You know, this is my second ASAE meeting, and I've really been enjoying the sessions. I think I've mostly met people from the States so far, but now that I'm listening to this podcast with you, and I think I'm going to make an attempt to make some international connections more so. I guess I didn't meet them directly, but the two keynote speakers were from Australia and from and they were fantastic. And I know you're going to be talking about the New Power, which I'm definitely going to get their book.
That's awesome.
Power. Yes, that book. Okay, their book was called New Power, and it is about, actually, let me grab my notes here real quick, because they're on the front page. But the book is called New Power, and it's Jeremy.
Oh, here it is. Jeremy Hyman's and co-founder and CEO of Purpose, and Henry Timms, president and CEO for the Lincoln Center of the Performing Arts. And their book is called New Power, How Power Works in Our Hyper-Connected World.
And they are on the cover of the Associations Now Daily. So this is what they look like. And they had a lot of fun with the fact that one's from Australia and one's from the UK, because the Australian speaker referred to his co-speaker as his oppressor, his colonial oppressor. So they were having a lot of fun with it. And so New Power is really driven, I'm not going to go through every one of the values, but New Power is driven by community and sharing and connecting. And that's where a lot of the stuff Agnes and I love to talk about comes in, especially with the global audience, the technology and how technology can connect people. So they were talking about ways like to crowdsource ideas or to let the group make decisions. And this is something that happens at the 501c League, actually. So the 501c League is actually New Power, New Values, unintentionally, because in today's world it just makes sense. And so that's kind of what we've been doing. So I ordered their book while they were talking. I went to my Amazon app and I ordered the book, and hopefully it'll be on my doorstep today. at home. So, but Agnes, I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of new power, but we talk about this a lot, crowdsourcing, bringing people together. So what sort of inclusion type thing or new power type thing would you share with our global audience? Just kind of hearing that.
I'm not sure if you can hear me, Cecilia. I feel like I'm a little bit still here. Can you hear me at all?
We can hear you, but you are frozen with a beautiful smile.
Oh, good. Well, that's a good thing. Well, my perspective or take on new power, it's really looking at how we can focus on real world problems. I think that that's really, for me, what that really means. Because when you think about it, regardless of whether it's new power or not, the bottom line is, how do we apply, learning to day-to-day activities that we are involved in? Because that's when it becomes power. That is when it becomes, relevant for you and I and our 501c community. So my take on this is, how do we emphasize on how to apply learning to our day-to-day activities, regardless of the community that we come from, whether 501c or international, global community or local community? Over to you, Cecilia.
Great. That was great insight, Agnes. Thank you. So I want to share a couple other things that we learned, since we only have a 15-minute program. So some of the other stuff we did is, one of our partners is Gravitate Solutions. And if you're a regular watcher of the series or a subscriber, you probably saw our episode with Rob Miller from Gravitate Solutions, where we talked about blended data. And this morning, they partnered with 340B Health, which is a trade association for healthcare for hospital systems. And they talked about using blended data to do engagement scoring. And so what the Nucleus tool does is it brings all the data together from everywhere, and then you can assign points for activity. And so that was really, because engagement is great, but are you measuring it? And how is engagement helping you be more effective? One great example they used was engagement scoring when reviewing candidates for board positions. They narrowed it down to a group of finalists for the board, and then they checked their engagement scoring, and they went with somebody who had a high engagement score. A higher engagement score than some of the other candidates. And that actually makes sense, because one of their goals of doing the engagement scoring is more activity and more engagement. So that was a great learning. What do you think, Stacy? You were not in the blended data one?
No, but that sounds
any
really fascinating. I was in a really excellent session called the Board's Duty of Foresight, which is not a legal duty, but it's a crucial duty, and it's about having the board discuss disruptive impact of societal transformation.
Wow.
And just how important it is and why, and it was incredible. And all of these ASAE sessions after the meeting is done are available to anyone, the public, online. There's a link to all the PowerPoints and all of the handouts and things from these sessions, and there's so many good sessions.
Well, that's a great tip for our global community as well, because I know a lot of people around the world like to link up with other associations and 501cs. And so that's a great tip. So go to the ASAE website and find something of interest to you. So Agnes, are you still with us?
Oh, I'm still with you, and I'm actually interested in a lot of what you've been talking about, and how ASAE sessions this year is really tackling a lot of important issues that's very relevant to us as 501c community, and not just community in the US, but our global community as well.
And that's what, Agnes, that's one of the great things about working with you, is you really bring that international understanding to the 501c field for us and for our audience. And so thank you for doing that. That's really important. So talking about that, some of the other stuff that I've picked up, this meeting started Saturday evening, and it's only Monday. We still have the rest of Monday and tomorrow. So there's going to be even more learning. So this is only what we've learned so far. But one of the things I've learned also, it's something, again, Agnes and I are big proponents of, and I'm sure Stacy is too, is sharing your knowledge with other people. We, as you know, Agnes and I are big mentors. We're very strong supporters of mentoring. We both have at least one mentee. I actually have 3 right now in a CAE study group. Stacy wants to become a mentor at some point as well and share what she knows. So take the time to share what you know and help make the profession better and help somebody else. So a great example of this is ASAE asked presenters to volunteer to do a recorded session for their online learning subscription series. And so I volunteered to do that, and I did something on strategic planning, inspiration from The Art of War by Sun Tzu. So strategic planning is something that you really need to have a clear vision and a foundational philosophy to do. In my opinion, I've been doing it for a long time, and that's the conclusion I've come to. So that is one of our foundations for strategic planning is The Art of War, because there's 13 very important lessons from that book that anybody can apply to their business or organization. So look for that, or call us for more information if you want to talk strategic planning. There's so much learning to fit in. Make sure you meet people. So one of our clients is the American Cleft Palate Association, who we have just loved working with. They're great people doing great work, helping a lot of families. And I got to connect in person today with Wendy Jo Toyama, who is their executive director, and we had a lot of fun this morning just talking and getting to know each other a little better. We also visited the Headshot Lounge. So if you come to ASAE annual or any ASE conference, take advantage of all the fun extras they do for you. The Headshot Lounge is free
And
to you.
The coaching, they offer coaching sessions with experts at a highly discounted rate. So take advantage of that. I'm trying it for the first time.
Yeah, that's a great tip, Stacy. Yeah, and look for those extras that you can add on for that smaller fee. But look around and see what's happening. Do that. I also went to the consultants meeting. So for those of you who are ASAE members and you're maybe not familiar with our consultant activity here at ASAE, there's something called the ASAE Key Consultant Committee. And what a key committee is an advisory group to senior staff at ASAE. So if there's a certain segment like consultants who have an issue they want to bring up or a suggestion, we can go to the key committee and they will take it forward to the staff and see if some action can come from that. But the really great thing about it is we do what they call the consultant town hall meeting. And so all the consultants can just get together and talk and get to know each other. And so one of the things we talked about was kind of forming some sort of consultant mentoring network for people like Stacy, who's kind of new to consulting. And so people like Agnes and I are always happy to help people like that, share our ideas and our suggestions and things like that. So Agnes, any comments on some of these points we're racing through?
Oh, absolutely. I think the other bit that I like to add would be relating past experiences to learning. I think for a lot of our audience, whether globally or locally, we really need to look at how can we begin to network or have or build a community. And the simplest way to doing it is really looking at our experiences. Cecilia, you and I, do this pretty well. I mean, we share a lot of our past experiences, and a lot of those experiences are what really does shape us to become who we are, whether for good or for bad. And I think that that's a very strong part of learning. And I think it's definitely worth just sharing that with our community.
Excellent. Thank you, Agnes. Stacy, did you want to add any learnings that you've picked up so far?
I know you're getting close to your 50 minutes. I just want to say thank you so much to both of you for having me onto this blog, which is a new experience. There's a learning experience for you right there.
Well, and we'll definitely have Stacy back, and so we can have a more focused conversation. But as we get close to our 15 minutes, I always like to ask Agnes if she has any closing thoughts before we sign off.
Well, I just wanted to echo Cecilia's thoughts. Stacy, it is a delight to have you join us. We look forward to seeing you again. And over to you, Cecilia.
Oh, great. Thank you, Agnes. And so as we close our recorded live from ASAE19, I want to thank our surprise guest, Stacy De La O. I want to thank my co-host and friend and colleague, Agnes Amos Coleman. And just remember what Agnes and I always say, take 15 minutes and talk with someone because you might learn something. So we're definitely learning a lot here at ASAE19, and we may do a follow-up session about this next week, so after the conference. So thanks, everybody, and thank you, Agnes.
Thank you. Thanks, Stacy. Thanks, Cecilia.
Thanks, Agnes. And to everybody, we'll be back next Monday. Bye for now.